What if the most expensive black-owned real estate in Asia isn't owned by a rapper or an NBA legend, but by politicians, oil tycoons, and a Hollywood superstar who spent 7 years hand-building his dream home? From floating pavilions in Phuket to a $8 million fortress overlooking a Dubai golf course. Let's get into the 8 most luxurious black-owned mansions across Asia. Stick around, because the number entry on this list is absolutely insane. Number 8. Hissein Bourma Ibrahim's Dubai Empire. Let's start with a name you almost certainly haven't heard before. And that's the whole point of this entry, because what Hissein Bourma Ibrahim has assembled in Dubai is the kind of portfolio that makes you stop and recalibrate your entire understanding of where serious Central African money is actually going. Ibrahim is a prominent Chadian businessman and former director of the Société des Hydrocarbures du Tchad, which is essentially the national oil company of Chad, which tells you everything you need to know about the tier of access and capital we're dealing with here. His Dubai portfolio includes a sprawling private villa, 7 high-end residential flats, and a commercial shopping center with a combined estimated value exceeding $7 million. Now, $7 million might sound modest compared to some of the numbers coming later on this list. And it is. But here's what makes this story genuinely interesting. This isn't a celebrity buying a vacation property. This is an oil executive methodically building what you'd have to call wealth infrastructure, the kind of diversified, multi-asset real estate position that functions as a hedge against the economic volatility of African energy markets. Think about that for a second. A villa for living, 7 flats generating rental income, a shopping center generating commercial revenue, all in Dubai, which offers the kind of political stability, tax neutrality, and global connectivity that you simply cannot replicate in N'Djamena. That's not a real estate purchase. That's a parallel financial system built in the desert. The villa itself follows the high-end Dubai template, contemporary glass and steel architecture with desert adaptive design principles, double-height foyers with dramatic chandeliers, centralized smart security managing climate, and access across multiple properties simultaneously. It's designed for high-capacity hosting, because at Ibrahim's level of business, the line between your home and your meeting room is largely theoretical. And he's not alone in this. Chadian investment in Dubai is estimated at approximately $14.5 million across various influential families, concentrated primarily in Business Bay due to its proximity to the Dubai International Financial Center. There's a whole network of Central African capital quietly repositioning itself in the Gulf, and Ibrahim is one of the clearest examples of how deliberately and systematically that's happening. Number 7. Moufta Halia Musa's 8 Sky Mansions. Now, if Ibrahim's portfolio is the methodical oil executive play, this next name has a detail in it that honestly me mid-read, because buried in the profile of Cameroonian Member of Parliament and businesswoman Moufta Halia Musa is this line, that high-profile individuals in her position generally use fake names or corporate shells to acquire Dubai property and protect their identities. Which raises an obvious question. If that's the general practice, how much of the $54 million in Dubai assets linked to Cameroonian officials is actually visible at all? But let's talk about what we do know. Moussa holds 8 luxury flats in Dubai with a combined valuation exceeding $15 million, which works out to roughly $1.875 million per unit, a price point that puts these properties firmly in the tier of branded residence towers with panoramic Burj Khalifa or Dubai Marina views, circadian-friendly lighting systems, advanced air purification, and interiors curated by global design firms. The Sky Mansion concept is the right framing here. These aren't apartments in the conventional sense. They're essentially the amenities of a landed estate compressed into high-floor tower living, with the vertical positioning providing a layer of seclusion from the city below that's genuinely difficult to replicate at ground level. For a sitting legislator managing assets across Africa and the Middle East, the logic of 8 separate units rather than one large property is worth thinking about. 8 units means 8 separate income streams, 8 separate points of market exposure, 8 different positions in a portfolio that can be liquidated, rented, or repositioned independently. That's not how someone who's primarily thinking about where to sleep approaches real estate. That's how someone thinking about asset preservation across multiple jurisdictions approaches it. The broader Cameroonian presence in Dubai, 117 assets totaling approximately $54 million, is part of a documented pattern of West and Central African political and business figures treating Dubai as a primary offshore wealth repository. The combination of residency permits tied to property ownership, aggressive promotion of foreign investment, and a legal framework that offers extraordinary discretion has made the UAE the destination of choice for exactly this category of capital. Moussa's 8 flats are, in that context, a very clear example of a strategy that an entire generation of African elites has converged on simultaneously. Number 6. Tiger Woods' floating pavilion in Phuket. Here's where the list pivots. Because this next entry isn't about oil executives or telecom billionaires or parliamentary asset portfolios. This one is about identity and the specific way that a place can mean something to a person that has nothing to do with its price per square foot. Tiger Woods' mother, Kultida, is Thai. That's the foundation of a connection to Thailand that runs through his entire life and career, and it's the reason that his luxury holiday property in the Phuket region is something qualitatively different from a standard celebrity vacation home. This isn't a wealthy American buying a beautiful villa in a beautiful country because the weather is good and the cost of luxury is favorable. This is someone with a genuine ancestral and emotional tie to a place, expressing that tie through the most permanent kind of investment available. The property itself is something to actually sit with for a moment. The master bedroom pavilion is designed to appear as though it floats over a waiting pool, surrounded by full-length glass windows, framing lagoon views on every side. Let that image land. You wake up in a room that appears to be suspended over water, with glass from floor to ceiling and a lagoon outside. That's not an amenity, that's an architectural experience. The estate features a 4x15-meter private pool with crystal jet hydrotherapy technology, floor-to-ceiling glass walls throughout that dissolve the boundary between interior and exterior, open-air salas, traditional Thai pavilions, integrated into the outdoor layout, and an in-home wellness spa facility designed for the kind of athletic recovery that someone who's spent decades at the top of professional golf actually needs in their body. The living space runs approximately 5,780 square feet on a plot between 600 and 756 square meters, with 3.8-meter ceilings throughout for tropical airflow. The location in Phuket's elite enclaves, either the Laguna development or proximity to the Blue Canyon Country Club, where the canyon course is already part of Woods' athletic history, comes with access to the Sanctuary Club's global network of championship courses and resort properties. For someone whose life has literally been organized around golf courses for 30 years, that's not a perk. That's the whole point. There's something genuinely moving about this property when you understand the full context. This is Tiger Woods going back to part of where he comes from and building something permanent there. That's worth more than the square footage. Number 5. Tony Elumelu, living in the shadow of the world's tallest building. If you know anything about African business at the highest level, Tony Elumelu needs approximately zero introduction. Chairman of Heirs Holdings, Chairman of United Bank for Africa, the architect of Afrocapitalism as a philosophy and a practice, and one of the most consequential economic voices on the continent for the past 2 decades. What you might not know is that his Dubai real estate position sits in downtown Dubai, which means he wakes up with an unobstructed view of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth, every single morning. That's not a flex for its own sake, though it's undeniably a flex. Downtown Dubai is the commercial and architectural center of the city, and the properties there are defined by a specific set of advantages that you genuinely cannot replicate in any other Dubai district. Direct sightlines to the Burj Khalifa and the Dubai Fountain. Access to the highest altitude restaurants, spas, and gyms in the world within adjacent towers. And critically for someone with Elumelu's professional footprint, immediate proximity to Business Bay and the financial infrastructure that surrounds it, collapsing the distance between the boardroom and the bedroom to almost nothing. Elumelu is a central figure in what analysts are calling the Nigerian wave, a sustained flow of Nigerian capital into Dubai real estate that has totaled approximately $6 billion over just 3 years. $6 billion. From one country, in 3 years into one city. That number is staggering, and it reflects a broader strategic shift among Nigeria's business elite toward treating Dubai not as a vacation destination but as a primary offshore financial and residential hub. His properties in downtown Dubai are designed around the lifestyle that comes with operating at that tier. Luxury concierge, world-class wellness facilities, the kind of service infrastructure that means you never have to think about the logistics of daily life because someone else is already handling them. For someone running a pan-African financial empire from a city that's become the de facto headquarters of global African business, that frictionless environment isn't a luxury, it's an operating requirement. Number 4. Strive Masiyiwa's massive Singapore and Dubai command center. We covered Strive Masiyiwa's extraordinary London mansion in our Europe episode. The £24 million 24-room property with the $40,000 book collection that he freely admits is the most used room in the house. But the Asian dimension of Masiyiwa's real estate story is a completely different chapter, and it reflects something specific about how he thinks about the relationship between where you live and what you're building. Masiyiwa is the founder of Econet Wireless and Liquid Intelligent Technologies, and his net worth sits at approximately $2.6 billion. More relevantly for this conversation, his company Gateway Dubai is regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, and his broader business operations across Asia are controlled, developed, and maintained from Singapore and Dubai simultaneously. Which means this isn't a man who has a vacation property in the Gulf. This is a man whose companies are legally and operationally anchored in 2 Asian cities, and whose residences in those cities are the physical infrastructure for running a multi-billion-dollar fintech and telecommunications empire. In Dubai, the residential and commercial footprint is built around the Gateway financial operation, high-security suites that function as both living space and meeting infrastructure for the global entrepreneurs and business leaders he convenes regularly. In Singapore, the properties are oriented around his Pan-Asian energy and urban solutions collaborations, situated in the financial district in a way that keeps him proximate to the Southeast Asian partnerships his business depends on. What separates Masiyiwa from almost every other name on this list is the technological integration of his properties. We're talking bespoke fiber optic and satellite arrays, ensuring connectivity that commercial networks can't guarantee. Sustainability-linked infrastructure, renewable energy integration, urban solutions technology, woven into the fabric of the buildings themselves. These aren't homes with fast internet. They are practically the most advanced nodes in a global telecommunications network that happen to also have bedrooms. He has a board seat at Netflix as well. He serves on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Advisory Board. His wife Sitsi leads the Higher Life Foundation, which has distributed over 300,000 scholarships across Africa. All of that operates out of a residential and commercial infrastructure that spans London, Dubai, Singapore, and Zimbabwe simultaneously. The Asian properties aren't a lifestyle choice. They're load-bearing walls in a global operation. Number 3. Femi Otedola, canal-front mansions and the art of living like a museum exhibit. We already met Femi Otedola in the Europe episode. The £18.6 million all-white Knightsbridge duplex directly opposite Harrods, the 2 former billionaires' row mansions, the $12 million yacht named Nana, the private jets. By now you have a reasonable sense of his aesthetic. Minimalist, white, expensive, and completely intentional about every detail. His Dubai presence, concentrated in Business Bay and downtown, is that same philosophy applied to a different geography, and the result is some of the most visually distinctive residential real estate on this list. The Business Bay mansions feature direct canal frontage, meaning private yacht access from the property itself, which in the middle of a desert metropolis is exactly the kind of juxtaposition that makes Dubai's luxury market unlike anywhere else on Earth. You are literally pulling a boat out of a canal in a city built on sand. That's a sentence that requires a moment. The architectural philosophy of these properties leans into what you might call poured concrete purity, minimalist designs that turn the home into something closer to a living art gallery than a conventional residence. Every surface is considered. Every material is chosen. Smart home integration runs through everything. AI-powered systems managing pools, private elevators, climate, staff accommodation for drivers and household staff, security. The operational complexity of running a property like this is essentially invisible to the person living in it, which is its own kind of luxury. The luxury of frictionlessness. For Otedola, the Dubai portfolio is a strategic asset positioning. His words, essentially, representing a transition from traditional industrial wealth rooted in oil and shipping into a more fluid, globally distributed form of capital that thrives in the tax-eligible golden visa environments that Dubai has specifically engineered to attract exactly this category of investor. He's not moving to Dubai. He's positioning wealth there, which is a meaningfully different thing and a meaningfully more sophisticated one. Number 2. Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, builds his Dubai command center. Here's a detail about Aliko Dangote that tells you everything about how he thinks. In 2019, he said publicly that he avoids luxury things because they distract and take time. This is a man with a net worth of $13.2 billion, ranked 168th wealthiest person on Earth, who has invested $20 billion into a single refinery project. And his position on luxury is that it is fundamentally inefficient. So when Dangote establishes a multi-billion-dollar family office in Dubai in 2024, with high-value residential assets in Emirates Hills and Palm Jumeirah attached to it, you have to understand that this is not a lifestyle upgrade. This is infrastructure deployment. The family office is designed to hunt for global investments to diversify the group's holdings beyond industrials, and the Dubai residential footprint is the physical anchor for that operation. Every property serves the work, which makes the interior details of his residences genuinely fascinating, because they reveal a very specific philosophy of what a home is actually for. The kitchen is primary. Dangote has spoken about viewing it as the heart of the home, the place where life actually happens. And his Dubai properties feature state-of-the-art culinary facilities designed for hosting business associates and government officials in a setting that's simultaneously personal and professional. The master suite is engineered for sleep, specifically 8 to 10 hours of it, which he considers non-negotiable for sustained productivity. And the home office is where he actually lives. A dedicated, fully equipped suite where he's received guests including Bill Gates and former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan. Emirates Hills and Palm Jumeirah are not accident choices. Emirates Hills is Dubai's answer to Beverly Hills, gated, golf-fronted, and populated by the kind of wealth that doesn't need to announce itself because everyone in the postcode already knows. Palm Jumeirah is the iconic artificial archipelago that became a global symbol of Dubai's ambition, with waterfront villas that offer a combination of privacy, prestige, and direct sea access that no mainland property can match. Dangote joining a trend of ultra-high net worth individuals choosing the Gulf over Switzerland or London as their primary offshore hub is significant precisely because of who he is. When Africa's richest man decides that Dubai is where his family office lives, it sends a signal to an entire generation of African capital about where the center of gravity is shifting. But as impressive as that may sound, it still falls short of what we have at number 1. Seriously, this one is going to blow your mind. Number 1. Will Smith. The $8.1 million handcrafted villa, where Hollywood meets the Dubai Hills. Everything on this list has been impressive in one way or another. The canal-front mansions, the floating Thai pavilions, the billionaire command centers. But Will Smith's villa in the hills, Dubai lands differently, and the reason is in the backstory rather than the price tag. Smith spent 7 years building his primary residence in Calabasas, California, a 25,000 square foot estate assembled with the help of hundreds of master woodworkers, plasterers, and stonemasons, each element handcrafted rather than manufactured. 7 years. For a man who could have written a check for any finished luxury property on the market, he chose instead to spend the better part of a decade building something by hand with actual craftspeople. That tells you his relationship with real estate is not transactional. It's personal, almost obsessive, rooted in the belief that a home should be a physical expression of the person living in it, rather than a generic luxury product. His villa in the hills, acquired for 30 million dirhams, approximately $8.1 million, carries that same DNA into a completely different context. The Hills is a prestigious Emaar development in Dubai, overlooking the Emirates Golf Club, designed around the idea that luxury and community can coexist. Lush greenery, gated streets with 24/7 access control, and integration with the Vida Hotel next door, which gives residents direct access to world-class dining, fitness, and tennis without leaving the compound. It's an unusual choice for someone of Smith's profile, because it prioritizes neighborhood feel and green space over the high-rise panoramic views that most Dubai luxury properties lead with. The interior reflects the Calabasas philosophy transplanted into a Middle Eastern context. Handcrafted furniture, warm wood features, soft furnishings that create a cozy, human-scaled environment despite the scale of the property. Bathrooms stocked with Hermes products, marble walls, freestanding bathtubs. Fireplaces with the kind of antler-style lighting that makes no meteorological sense in Dubai, but makes complete aesthetic sense for someone who has spent decades building homes that feel lived in rather than staged. There are reportedly antique carved panels, Middle Eastern and Asian, woven into the interior, consistent with the eclectic, globally sourced aesthetic he's applied to every property he's owned. Smith has described Dubai as where I go when I want to have fun, and he visits regularly with family. But the Hills Villa is not a holiday property in the casual sense. It's a fully realized residence that reflects a considered vision of what home feels like for a man who has spent 30 years thinking more carefully about that question than almost anyone else in Hollywood. The $8.1 million price point is, by the standards of this list, relatively modest. But this was never a conversation about who spent the most. It's about who built something that actually means something. And by that measure, Will Smith's Dubai villa earns its place at the top without any difficulty at all. And there you have it, 8 black billionaires with insane real estate portfolios across Asia. Which one of these mansions impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments, and for more such interesting peeks into how black wealth is prospering across the globe, take a look at Black Status.